Hello, hello, visibility hackers. Of course, I ran in here without putting on my headphones. So give me one sec. Of course, they're not showing up. Anyways, hello, visibility hackers. I currently smell like a bonfire because all best things revolve around a bonfire. So the reason tonight's show is a little bit delayed, thank you for bearing with me, is because I was leading an incredible bonfire with a whole slew of senior kindergarten kids who were getting ready for the summer. They were wrapping up kindergarten, celebrating a bunch of the birthdays, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, welcome. Let me waft some of this campfire smell over to you guys because everyone deserves to smell like campfire once in a while, you know? Once in a while. If you guys are campfire fans, definitely let me know down in the comments because I love bonfires. I love campfires. I love all things summer camp, including Live Academy Summer Camp Edition. So, no, it is not for summer camps, although summer camps can join. The reason we're calling it Summer Camp Edition is because we're running the Live Academy program, the same as we did with our accelerated program, but we're adding a couple extra weeks just to give you some relaxation. It's not relaxing, we're going to work. But we're giving you an extra 2 weeks, so it's a 6-week program to help you blow up your brand's visibility, blow up your connection machine, really flip that switch and turn it on so that you can start connecting with your ideal customers and start bringing them into your world. And as we've talked about so often, we want to make sure that the customers who are, or the leads that we spend our time on the phone with, or the leads that we're putting our energy and effort into nurturing, we want to make sure they're the right leads, they're the right customers. They're not just people who are curious and not just people who want your free lead magnets. And that's all as far as they're going to go. We want to get you the customers who are ready to throw their credit cards at you. Customers who are what we like to call pre-qualified, meaning they do the work to figure out that you are the perfect solution for their problems. And when you do that, when you position yourself as the expert, when you turn on your connection machine and we plug those two things in together, bam, bam, fireworks. You are now on top of the world. You are now numero uno. All right, we need a Jim Beard in here, so let me throw him over the link so he can join us, because why not? Why not? But in the meantime, we got Miss Tammy Fink. We've got Miss Wow. Miss Wow's on mute. Miss Wow was here before I got here today, so I have to say congratulations. You get the I Showed Up on Time award.
I love that. I came early. Jim told me to be here early. I feel as set up.
No, it's totally my fault, but I also found us a Jim Beard. Nice hair, sir.
Up, y'all.
Ooh,
Looking good.
you got prepared.
Nice shirt.
Sure.
How's every little thing, kids?
Absolutely great. I smell like a bonfire. Can't be upset and smelling like a bonfire, I say.
Than that.
Wow. I'm feeling s'mores myself. I'm feeling a little s'more-ish.
Yes.
Hashtag
Oh my
fat.
goodness. So we had cupcakes that were designed like bonfires. We had all of the sugary snacks. We had marshmallows and s'mores and hot dogs roasted over the fire, cut like little spider dogs.
Damn, you guys
Amazing.
don't mess around.
I want
Like,
pictures. I want photos.
Seriously.
Oh, I'll send you some.
Amazing.
So
That's
how
all
have your
those
weeks
things.
been, my friends?
It's been a week.
The week has gone by.
It's been as good as it possibly can be. The pinnacle obviously was getting our outline out, and now I'm fleshing that out even further into daily tasks.
Nice.
Very, very excited about that.
Fantastic.
I'm just pumped to get it started because
Yeah.
I just got this gut feeling that this thing is going to be a rocket ship.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Even just seeing the success that students have had just coming out of Live Academy, just knowing I have a connection machine, but really only knowing how to turn the first level of it on.
so true.
And the rest of it is just going to be, as the kids say, a fire.
The kids say that. They say that all
They
the
do.
time. With
They
their
do. Look at that
emojis.
closed loop.
They do. They say
Those
it with
kids.
emojis. I've seen it.
Oh, my biggest accomplishment this week is I did a marathon 3 days of interviews for the live show and got to chat with some incredible people,
Did we get
including
sit in?
Tammy, of
Did you get
course.
sit in there?
No, because he's on baby watch.
Oh,
Baby,
yeah.
baby may be coming today, tomorrow, the day after. We don't know. So we're on baby watch. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm
Well,
very excited
congrats
for photos.
in advance to
yes.
Sid and his amazing wife.
I'm waiting for photos of little baby and lovely Tiffany in
And
the hammock in
we
her
want
office.
to be the first people to interview your baby.
Yes, we're putting that out
We
there.
want to be the first ones.
I
Not
see
the
it
second.
happening.
It's going to be intense. I'm excited. Or
I
we can
love
do
it.
the interview in the hospital room.
Yeah, I'm totally sure that will be
Mid-labor.
not awkward at all.
Yeah.
Hardly.
We'll keep the
hardly.
camera up here. But you know,
Family show. It's a
Sweaty-
family show.
sweaty
How did you
brow.
get started in business?
Oh
It
man.
would be
Oh, man.
a widely watched episode, I bet.
Having
Not-
experienced both, I will tell you, Jim, really similar. Really,
Being
birthing a
interviewed
business
and
and
having
birthing a
and going
baby.
through labor.
Oh yeah, really similar.
About the
I'm
same
just
thing?
saying.
Wow, we got to make nicer interviews for you guys. Sorry about that.
Oh,
No,
it's
Jim,
so
we're being interviewed by you. It's like passing a stone for guys. You
How
know, the guys
rude.
compare to.
Molly was amazing.
I
She
love
was
interviewing people.
Always
We had
honored.
so much fun.
Oh,
We had.
oh.
It should be taxable. We had so much fun. It really should be taxable.
Don't say that I'm Canadian. Everything is taxed.
that's
Please
so
don't.
Yeah.
Except for healthcare.
Well, no, our taxes pay for healthcare, but we also don't have toll roads. Just saying.
Oh,
That's such a strange concept.
Michigan
to me.
doesn't have any, except for the Mackinac Bridge. You get into Ohio, though, and you are screwed.
yeah.
Oh.
We have the pass thing. We have the little pass thing. So you,
Oh, so you pay monthly and you don't think about it. You just,
Well-
you just stick it behind the rear view and just
we
just
just go.
tallies it up.
it's when we go into other states because we're close
Mm.
enough, right? But we go into other
Mm.
states. We're down in Texas once a month, and it just like, you know, I'm on the phone on this freeway. My husband sends me into Texas. I'm in Dallas going, okay, I can make it to the destination like at 15 minutes before the place closes. He sent me on the journey. I said, okay, if I take this other toll road, they promise me I can buy back time by like 10 minutes from what it's showing on the GPS. Should we
Literally,
go for
buy
it? I have
time.
no idea the
Time.
cost.
It's like that Justin Timberlake movie where you have to like scan your chip to take
I
up
remember
time.
that
So
was
much
the
like that.
thing.
Limitless? Was that Limitless? I don't know.
No.
No.
Limitless is amazing, though. That's with Bradley Cooper.
Yes.
But
That
the
was a
one
good
you're talking about, I keep wanting to say Time Cop, but that's
Now I
totally
gotta look it up. You guys talk amongst
That's
yourselves.
in the 80s. Wasn't Time Cop in the 80s?
maybe.
Like it was a
We are
date.
dating ourselves right now.
Maybe.
We're off to a fast start. aren't
Jury's
we?
out.
Oh, look at us go.
So Tammy, I need to know
Yeah.
some wow.
You need
Hit
some
me
wow.
with what is going on in the world of wow.
Well, I just want it to be said that I told Molly, she's a witness to this, that I said I really felt like we should buy you a puppy for introducing
Yes.
us, 'cause we're like the best friends now. It's like insane. She said no to the puppy, by the way, just in case you wanted to know.
Said no to. Oh,
So,
well,
so I said a unicorn, maybe. Maybe we could buy
Llama.
you
Yes.
a unicorn.
she wants a
something.
llama.
A llama? Oh my
A
gosh.
llama. Oh, unicorn. There you go. Cool.
Unicorn. Or a llama. I
That's
like the
way
llama
cheaper than
idea.
a real unicorn. Because let me tell you, with gas prices the way they are right now and inflation, unicorns are a handful. You got to remortgage your house now to get one. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. It's like a whole thing. I
Is
really
this
had
why
to, like,
Johnny Depp was asking for llamas in his trial?
Because they're cheaper. than
Llamas and alpacas?
Yeah, they're cheaper than unicorns.
We're gonna need
right now.
that. We're gonna need that.
It's supply and demand, Molly. You see, there's a lot more llamas than there are unicorns. But the demand is still high for unicorns. So
the demand is always high for unicorns,
the
yeah.
price goes up.
And then they're manipulating our children because they're putting them on cereal boxes, so all the kids are gonna want one.
Yep.
You know?
And they think they're common too, but they're not.
They do the whole thing.
And Jim Edwards really put it through the roof.
I saw a
Shout out to
where
Jim
apparently
Edwards.
There's a big unicorn controversy going on. Because
Around Jim
apparently
Edwards?
Lucky Charms, well, this is the
I
story
always said that he was a unicorn in disguise
Ooh,
as a bearded man.
maybe. They put unicorns apparently in the new cereal boxes. I've not gotten any, so I don't know. But unicorns and Lucky Charms together in the same box. And apparently, if you go back into history, we all know that unicorns and leprechauns are mortal enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's this big
A
controversy.
war in every box. You can really taste the tyranny.
Right? So now they're collector's items, right? They are collector's
Circling back, the Justin Timberlake movie is called In Time, released in
Ah, there you
2011.
go.
items. Oh, in time.
How
I was a
inventive.
Blockbuster manager back then. That was good times.
Ooh, a blockbuster manager.
Be kind.
Best
Rewind.
job
Be kind.
ever.
Rewind. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was my job to do all the rewinding.
I was shocked to learn Molly is just like has all the jobs, right? I heard earlier today
She
that
does,
she was
as
a
a
brain
matter of fact,
surgeon.
have
I don't know
all
where that
the
brain
jobs.
surgery
That's
thing.
a
Because
fact.
apparently she was a brain surgeon at some point.
No, I was not a brain surgeon.
She
In
was.
grad school, I
Anymore.
stuck people in MRIs.
Okay,
stop.
I made sure their brain was whole.
You were a brain surgeon.
right.
So now that we've
I'm
got
pretty sure I
that
saw it on
clear.
Facebook. It's got to be true.
And my reference is Tammy.
Hashtag Molly brain surgeon.
Hashtag facts.
As the kids say.
That's the kids say.
So I actually had a topic I'd like to dig into if you guys don't.
Heck yeah.
mind.
No, please,
Bring it on.
Web 3.0
Woohoo!
and
Yeah.
NFTs, but in the usage of info products. Steve Larson has spearheaded this recently with Jeffrey Bannock, who is aggressively learning and teaching himself how to do this on the fly. Shout out to them both, obviously. But I'd like to get your opinions. A, do you know about the usage cases? And B, are you planning on utilizing it?
As someone who has been paid in Bitcoin since 2010, 2011, I'm skeptically watching what's happening. I'm never an early adopter of technology. I'm always a early observer, and watching people figure it out, watching people iron out the kinks. Because I'm also watching a lot of my friends get rug pulled with a lot of NFT projects. And so it's curious to see, unfortunately, that this huge black mark has been placed on NFTs in the Web 3.0 project from people who have used it in malicious ways, which is unfortunate because there is so much incredible capacity in that project, so much that we can do, and it overshadows, unfortunately, the incredible cool things that people are doing, and draws the attention away. So let's spotlight all of the great things that are happening.
I'd like
on
to
Web
hear your
3.0.
opinion, Molly. In your opinion, how would you best describe to someone that has no effing idea what an NFT is, what an NFT is?
It's a digital ledger.
Pick me.
Oh, Tammy.
I
Okay.
know very little. No, not pick me. Fine. Pick me like you're telling me. I know.
Okay.
I know very little.
Do you know what NFT means? The words.
This is what I know. I know in Clubhouse there are people who have things like Gary coins.
Yeah.
Involve all the Gary coin stuff. I know he wrote a book on Clubhouse about the creatives, which I thought I didn't really even. It was a really a good read. I listened to that on some trip to Texas, and I did learn a lot of things about the Clubhouse stuff. But with the NFTs and all of that, I understand it, and really because I'm older. I'll be older next week too, by the way.
Early congratulations on your elderness.
Anyway, thank you. But a lot of it, I really thought it wasn't a thing. Like for years, thought this isn't a thing. This is like kids living in their parents' basement come up with hey, I don't get my allowance, so let's just create our own allowance. And so really, it didn't track until all of a sudden now I'm having conversations with my husband going, oh, NFT, it's a thing. I read the book. It's totally a thing. But I have no clue as to how I would use it or anyone would use it with me. So,
okay.
So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. So if I were to give you my water bottle, you can buy this exact same water bottle at any Starbucks. It's not special. But if I were to sell you my very first pair of shoes, there's only one pair of those. They have significance, they have meaning, and you cannot replace them. So what is that? How do we take that into the digital world? Well, let's start at the absolute basics with the kind of NFT projects that you're probably assuming high school kids who don't get their allowance are creating. So you're seeing these collections of digital images and people are like, you're paying how much for a picture on the internet? You're not actually paying for the picture of the internet on the internet. You're paying for a link. That's it. You're paying for a link to direct you to something that already exists on the internet that anyone can see, but you now own. So it's how does it get more complicated? It gets so much more complicated when we talk about using this technology. So blockchain is where all of these things live. Think of it like a ledger book. Think of it as those library cards when you would go to the library and get your library books. So you would have an actual record that Bob on this date took out this book and returned it on this date. And then Tammy took the book out on this date and returned it on this date, and so on and so forth. So you're able to actually say...
She still owes late fee.
Sounds very Canadian because we've gotten rid of library fines. So if say this is my really important, non-fungible, very unique item, it's entirely digital, I'm going to sell it to you. And now it's yours. We're written in the ledger. And when you're ready to sell it to Jim for a different price, it's going to go on that ledger. Even in 100 years, we'll be able to trace it back. And so what's happening is when I talk about rug pull, that means that these people are investing in these coins, which is a way of trading value backed by the blockchain. So you can trace it. We can get into like the technical economic sides of it, but that's a story for another day. But basically what these people are doing is they are taking all of the money out of the pool and leaving their people with nothing. There is no value left in that asset. And so they've pulled the rug. And that is a bad thing that's happening. But enough about the bad things, the great, incredible things. Say you buy my really cool picture of a penguin on the blockchain, but that penguin isn't just a picture. That penguin actually gives you access to my entire back catalog of all of my courses I've ever created. Have you heard of Anna Sorkin? Sorkin, is that her name? The Inventing Anna on Netflix. Mm-hmm. She became famous for scamming a bunch of people. Netflix made a special about her. She's still in jail. She's selling an NFT right now.
I thought she was out now. And she got extradited out of the country.
I don't know. I saw an interview with her yesterday and she's still in jail.
JK.
I don't know. But she's still in jail, 100%, because her NFT is selling access to phone calls with her. So you can call the jail line.
She's so damn smart. That girl is amazing.
Ugh. Ugh.
Use your powers for good, kids. Use your powers for good.
Exactly. So, like for your business, for example, when people buy the book, they can also buy the NFT, which gives them the audiobook version. It gives them a phone call or a Zoom call with you once a month. It can give them all of these other perks that when they then decide to sell their token or sell their NFT, all of that extra value transfers over to the new person. Say you're selling a ticket to a live event. Now you're going to do it by an NFT, so they can exchange their tickets amongst themselves if they want. But then there's also the tangible value that's attached to it. Maybe that NFT ticket gives you access to the VIP space and early access and actual tangible things that happen quickly or happen like in real time. Jim's got some really cool examples of like who else is doing cool NFT stuff that you were mentioning before with the live event stuff.
The piggies, and the piggies will give you access to his event. It'll give you access to every course he's ever created and ever will create.
Yeah.
Also, it gives you so many one-on-ones with him, I believe.
Yes.
And it also still has its own innate value of being this image that's one of so many. It's a limited thing. So for each image that's minted, and when you mint, it means you're creating a unique asset. So imagine you have like a character, and it's got a head, arms, legs, body, hats, and there's just all these parts, and there's variations of those parts. So when I mint, it goes, all right, I'm going to pull one from each randomly, and this is your character. It's one of a kind.
Or it's like giraffes. It's like Gary's giraffes. Like
Gary's giraffes. Yeah. Empathy giraffe or whatever the hell they called it. But his actually gave you access to 3 years of events. For any events he held, you'd have an instant pass ticket to get in using your NFT.
Yep.
It also gave you access, I believe, to have a 1 to 50 arranged meeting with Gary. So 50 people per meeting with Gary, which for Gary is very little.
Yeah.
Gary's used to tens of thousands of people at one time. And there was a couple other items that were included within that, including they made figurines out of these little drawings, real life figurines. And those figurines had a secondary market life. And then even after the V friends is what they're called, animals are sold out for, like all the utilities gone, they're still a collectible.
Yeah.
So those will still have innate value left over afterwards. So after you minted Gary V's V friends, I believe they went for $1 Ethereum a piece, which at the time was neighborhood $3,100, $3,200. It immediately, the week after, tripled. 2 weeks later, it 10x'd. Another week later, it 10x'd again. So you're looking at a $3,000 investment. And mind you, you still have all this cool utility that is now potentially worth 50 times what you paid for. But
on the flip side of that,
it can go very bad. Like she said, which is a rug pull.
And there's been
like a good NFT.
Yeah, so there's been some huge NFT projects that were expected to double and triple, like so on and so on. People spent like $5,000 on one of them when they were first minted, went to flip them, and they got nothing. One guy spent $25,000, and he turned around and tried to sell it a couple months later, and he literally got $5. He's like, it's
Jack Dorsey's first tweet ever setting up Twitter was just testing a tweet, something like that was what the tweet was. He made it into an NFT and sold it. It sold for $23 million. It's currently worth about $50.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. Like, I'd be on the edge of a parking lot building, just like, like looking over the edge. Like that is intense. But so it's
for me
Wild
as a
West right now.
creator, what is in it? I mean, where I don't get the disconnect, I understand the value, and I understand it only in the way that I kind of understand the stock market, right? So I'm not an investor in the stock market either. But looking at that from the creative or the creator's perspective, when are they getting the money, and how much are they taking out that's not a rug pull, or how do I pay my
the creator of the NFT?
Right.
So on mint day, you're paid.
Yeah, the day that they
day
buy
of the
it
mint is when you make all your money. It all comes in. Or but I mean, it's not guaranteed.
So where's the money? Where's the money in the value that's gaining more value?
So if you think of NFTs in two different ways. In one way, it is exactly like the stock market. 100% like the stock market. It's a speculative market.
Supply,
prices,
demand, value.
Yeah, prices can be set on your NFTs, and then you can also have auctions. So you can increase the value based on demand. Then on the other side of it is the utility side. So a lot of NFT projects that I'm in we have no expectation of making money when we sell these on the secondary market, because we are incentivized to hold the NFT and not sell it, because the value on the back end, the utility of it is incredible. And there's some projects that the value actually increases year after year after year because you get access to more and more and more. So I'm in like 3 or 4 projects like that I have no intention of ever getting rid of. So
one such big example was the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So Bored Ape Yacht Club sounds effing ridiculous. Absolutely agree with you. But this thing took off. And they had milestones month by month of, if we have this many minted, we're going to have a ridiculous like helicopter party. And then they hit it, and then they did it. And then there was another one that was like, we're going to have this massive party, and we're going to have MGK perform. They did it. But mind you, in the beginning, they don't know if anything's going to happen.
Right.
So they're just saying, if this happens, we'll do this. And they didn't even approach MGK until like the last possible second. And I think he ended up being, I forget the story of who, I don't even know if it was MGK for sure, but it was something like that. And they approached him, and it ended up being he actually owned one of the NFTs. It just worked out. But they're just making it up as they go and making millions with their testing. It's like any other kind of marketing. It's all testing.
So as a graphic designer,
look at these prices.
I should be in this.
Look at these crazy prices. Like that's ridiculous. They're never ever going to sell that, obviously.
No.
Never going to happen. They're just wanting to post it up so they can say, I own this and you don't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But what's really interesting that I'm finding, like, it sucks that people are getting the rug pulled out from under them and they're losing all of their value, but it's speculation, so it happens.
Yeah.
But what's really, really neat to see is how people are building out the vision, because NFTs are like the door frame to Web 3.0. There is a sliver there in NFTs. The rest of the project of Web 3.0 is game changing. And so what the bridge between NFTs and Web 3.0, think of Web 3.0 like a physical space that we can hang out in. It's a virtual space, but like if we're all hanging out, we have our avatars. It used to be like The Sims, for example, and everyone has like their avatar, and they walk around and they hang out, and there's actually like assaults on each other that are happening, and there's like crime happening in the metaverse now. But that's another story for another day. NFT projects, when you launch them, you give up a roadmap to your people, and you're like, okay, we're in phase 1, and in phase 1, you're just getting this cool image. We're going to have a cool community, and everyone's going to get a shout out. Then in phase 2, we're going to develop it even more, and now we're going to get physical things that we can do. We can have that helicopter party. There was one guy who he bought penthouse suites in big cities in the US and gave his NFT holders access to these party spaces. That ended up getting shut down because there's a whole bunch of crime that was happening in these penthouses, because you don't have control over who these people are. They're just accounts that are purchasing. So, but then a lot of people are building into their roadmaps virtual spaces in the metaverse. So they're like, we are going to build the best nightclub in all of the metaverse, and you guys are going to get access to it all the time. We have a movie festival here in Toronto, and they're opening up a theater in the metaverse. And when you have their NFT, you get access to all of the virtual screenings, all of the virtual panels. So it's really like being in person at the event. It's just the metaverse edition and the VIP version of that. So it's really neat to see where these are going in terms of fully digital utility, fully digital Web 3.0 type of connection, which is cool as well.
What's really interesting too is like each one of these, like Bored Ape Yacht Club. So the people bought the NFT. Later on, they made a crypto and said anyone that has one of these NFTs also gets X amount of these crypto per NFT. And that crypto went up to, I think it's up to $20. I mean, it probably nosedived recently because the whole crypto market has had a bear market recently, but it was at like $20 a coin. And when it was issued, it was like 20 cents. That's a massive, ridiculous growth. That they get to exercise, and they did zero just for owning the original NFT. Wow. And then they just keep going with it. They just keep adding more benefits, more and more, because they want you to hold for as long as humanly possible. Now, here's the other interesting thing, Tammy, is that once you sell one of your NFTs, you get a commission every time thereafter that it's sold. So in perpetuity, forever.
Wow.
But just check this out. So these are ones from Bored Ape Yacht Club. So this is like the most popular of the NFTs. If you sort them by recently sold, we can check something out. So here, this guy with the pipe, the zombie with the pipe, he was like his previous sale was 119. Now he most recently sold for 82. Then we scroll down and we can see sold for 95, now 82.5. We have a big jump here from 81 to 111.88. But then we go here. No, where's the other one? We go here. It was 82.5. Now it's 0.17. So there's like every single one of them is so different.
But the other thing is that there's certain qualities about them that they make innately rare.
Yeah.
So there's only so many captain's hats that are available to spread across all the possibilities. So
this guy here,
that could be rare.
This guy here with the pennies in his eyes or whatever. So the new punk blue background, only 12% have that. Those sailor shirts, only 3% have those. The silver studs in the ears, only 8% have. The coins in the eyes, only 5% have those. The zombie thing on his fur, only 3% have that, etc., etc. So there's the properties that make them unique, which personally I don't care for. That to me is irrelevant. I'm not a collector of the art side of it. But you can also, so this is OpenSea, by the way, which is the largest NFT market. So you can buy originally minted stuff as well as resell on OpenSea. And it gives you lots of info. So you can see that this guy was minted June 5th of last year.
For 1.3 Ethereum.
And now, and has sold 3 times. It sold the first time for 38.5, sold 10 days later for 50. So that's a pretty good increase. And now it most recently sold for 81. So they'll give you.
They're asking 111 for it.
And people down here are showing their offers. And then when you get really into the blockchain, you can actually track people's wallets. And you can say, okay, I saw that Tammy bought this originally, or this wallet number, which if you're like me, you can trace that back to who the owner of the wallet is, but you can go, I see wallet number whatever, purchased it, and then sold it to this wallet, and then traded it into a different cryptocurrency, and then traded it over to here, and blah 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 blah. So you can literally trace every single transaction across the blockchain, which is really, I'm nerdy like that.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, Tammy, is when you remove yourself from the JPEGs and the glitz and glam of all this kind of like fun like aspect of it.
Right.
Now think about a mortgage. What is a mortgage? A mortgage is nothing more than proof of control. How can you show proof? You can show it with this, with the ledger that's innately built in to NFTs and cryptocurrency. So now anything that requires proof of ownership, a receipt of ownership, legalities, contracts, all of the above can now fall under the digital realm. Like what you would do with like a LegalZoom when you sign online for your contracts now. Now that can then be recorded to the ledger and everyone can publicly see that. So now you don't need 30 to 60 days to sell a house. You can sell it within an hour.
Yeah. As a BMW driver, BMW is rolling out NFTs with car purchases. It has nothing to do with a JPEG. There's no art attached to it. It's attached to your car. So every time you go in to service it, that service has been tracked on the blockchain. Has nothing to do with art. It's entirely functionality. So there's good sides and bad sides to that.
And
good side is that
who controls the blockchain in that?
No one. It's decentralized.
That's the whole point of the blockchain.
That's the entire point. Is there's no other hands in the cookie jar.
It's just code.
It's person to person. So there's a big concern with banks right now that they're no longer necessary. Because what does a bank do other than prove if something's there or not? And then they move numbers around with your money and make investments that are absolutely redonkulous that they should never have the right to make. They take insane risks with your money, and that's one of the reasons that the 2008 crash started in the first place. But now, if it's just
American banking,
now if it's just person to person, there is no bank. So that's why monetary policy right now is fumbling over itself to try and get something in place to protect themselves, because there's a real danger of all banks becoming no longer needed. And you better believe they don't want that shit.
Yeah. So if we go back to like BMW and cars, for example, good side, you get to track every single service appointment. If you buy that same car 10 years, 15 years down the road, you know, pun intended, you know exactly when everything was serviced, and it was serviced appropriately based on BMW's service requirements or whatever. The downside to that, if you go to a non-BMW, if you go to a non-dealership for your service, it doesn't get counted. Could void your warranty. It ties you to businesses. So there is a huge movement to not allow what Jim's talking about to happen, is to keep banking. Banking is very different here in Canada. We don't have little ma and pa banks. Like the 2008 crisis just actually can't happen here. So there's a movement here to say we want to make sure that like we have crypto as an option, but we still want to be able to have transactions that aren't linked to the banks. We want to be able to have cash that we can still transfer back and forth, that we're not recording everything on the blockchain. A real big pushback that's happening is that if we take the money side out of NFTs and we just look at the utility side of it, they're looking at doing NFTs similar to mortgages and that kind of stuff, but everything about you will now be tracked on the blockchain. And this would include things, and the blockchain is fully publicly available, like fully. Like I sometimes in my spare time like to track transactions between big influencers' accounts. for example, to see who's paying who. Are these influencers who are pushing these coins, are they being paid ahead of time by the coin creator just for the promotion? And do they hold on to the value? Like, do they hold on to those coins, or do they sell them when the market's high and then they just get out because they wanted the financial transaction to it? So if you then look at everything else being publicly available and put on the blockchain, there's issues about, for example, if you're leaving an abusive relationship and you're going to rent a house or rent an apartment or whatever, all of these rentals are being tracked on the blockchain in this theoretical world we have here. You're leaving an abusive relationship, you're signing up a new a new lease agreement. That partner can now find exactly where you live. They can find everything about that transaction. So it's, where do we draw the line? But we're at this beautiful space at the beginning of Web 3.0, where if we get involved in these discussions, if we have access to the people who are really breaking ground in this project, and we can do that with things like Clubhouse, for example. But if we decide that is a world that we don't want to live in, and we want to put parameters on this, and we see the use of the blockchain in certain directions and not in others, we're coming in at the ground floor right now. So yeah,
big time.
I pay attention to crazy things like that.
There's a big issue in particular in Detroit, and I know it was nationwide, to where people were paying rent, but the owner wasn't using that to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
The owner was just pocketing the cash.
Yeah.
So now you could see on the ledger, oh, Todd didn't pay his effing mortgage.
Yeah.
I'm about to lose my place. Yep. So now you can see, oh, Todd missed 3 months in a row. We're going to lose this house. It's no longer a hidden thing to where now the sheriff showing up at your door and saying, hey, sorry, you didn't pay your mortgage. And you're like, I'm renting. And they go, I don't care. Get out.
Yep.
It's not your house anymore. It's not his house either. It's the bank's.
Yep.
Like problems like that are costly, stressful, stupid, that they even happen in the first place, are no longer even remotely an issue.
Yeah.
How does the tax situation, Canada excluded, how does the tax situation handle?
They're still figuring it out.
Working it out. That's part of the monetary policy that they're currently fumbling.
So are they pro or against?
Oh, it'll be taxed to hell. Absolutely. Just like everything else. It'll have capital gains applied to it. There will be some that are viewed as securities. They'll have their own subset of taxation. There will be other ones that fall under non-security, which will then be considered almost like a collectible. And at that point, they're taxed at a different rate, which I believe would just be a sales tax rate. But they have to distinguish what is and what is not, and what constitutes that fine line between is and is not. Because there's a lot of cryptocurrencies and NFTs that walk the line. For instance, XRP, which is Ripple, is the name of the company that made XRP, has been in a lawsuit now for over a year. And the year-long lawsuit is from the SEC saying that they are indeed a security. And they say we are not a security. And so they saw them as, when they sold the initial XRP, Ripple did, that they were selling it for shares. Cryptocurrency are shares in a security of the company. And Ripple said, no, this is separate from the company. Because of that, we're not a security. The coin is a separate entity from us. But then they said, well, you're using XRP to then fund research in Ripple. Now you're commingling. Now we have a problem. So that lawsuit has been going on for so long. And at the end of that, it will end in some form of regulation. But on top of that, the Biden administration right now is like fumbling over itself, trying to put something together really, really fast. So we'll see what yields out of that. But either way, it needs to happen. And the reason it needs to happen is because these big banks, these big foundations, the billions and trillions of dollars haven't entered the crypto space yet, because it's Wild West and it's terrifying. Now what happens when regulation comes in is all these big boys go, I like money. And they're going to fly. I mean, you're going to see Bitcoin go to $1 million. I fully believe that is more than feasible to see one Bitcoin go to those heights. And if not those heights, just as ridiculous of a number. from where it is now, because the big institutions, the people with the real money, not like, Bernie Sanders donations. We're talking real big money is going to fly into the crypto market once regulation is there, because then they know what the rules are.
Yep.
And they know how to game the rules, and
Yeah,
they know how to always win.
Yep. Like
So
here,
once
you
that
can
happens, it's
pay
going to go
your
crazy.
property taxes. You can pay your water bill. You can pay for your kids' swimming lessons, and you can buy groceries with crypto, with Bitcoin, and it's taxed. But interesting thing, like if we talk like big global issue with Bitcoin, China wants full control over their currency, full control over their markets. Everything is controlled in China. And so they recently kicked out all of their Bitcoin operations. So there's this big or medium-sized business in the US. I have no idea what the name of it is, but they work with data or Bitcoin mining. So they have these little devices that run a lot of power, and they help their mini computers, supercomputers, and they solve all of these math problems that are required to validate transactions on the blockchain. So China says no more crypto. We want you, no more crypto trading, no more crypto businesses, no more crypto mining with Chinese energy. None of it anymore. So this American company was like, "Oh crud! Now we have to get all of our physical assets out of the country so that we can move them somewhere else and use them." So what they did, this guy's brilliant. They went to all of these towns in the U.S. that are kind of losing their industries, and they have all of these huge warehouses and factories that are just sitting abandoned. So they've gone in, they've bought up these properties not to raise them, but to fill them with all of these crypto mining operations. So there's one that's here in Canada on Niagara Falls, and they've like the Niagara Falls, the downtown city center is like dead. They filled this warehouse or this old factory up, and they're using cheap energy off of Niagara Falls in order to start mining crypto. So now the question is, what is the environmental cost of having the blockchain? So the blockchain is a series of transactions that need to be verified by a series of computers around the world. That's a lot of energy usage. And unless you're planning out your entire operation to be green from the get-go, meaning you're putting in the solar, we're not talking about extraction of minerals and things like that. That is a conversation for another day. But if you're just buying up mining material or buying up crypto mining things and running them in your house, well, that's a lot of energy use. A lot of energy use. Funny story though, there was a couple of stories I heard of in the last few months of people who were plugging in their miners. I know they're not called miners, but plugging them in at work in their employers' offices. And this one guy, not only did he get fired, but he had to pay $32,000 just to cover the energy expense from plugging one miner in behind his desk.
Is that because it runs 24/7? Is that part of the experience?
And it runs at an extremely high energy draw rate because
it's all GPU, right? It's all GPU. It's all heavy. It's all heavy.
Yeah,
it's all heavy.
It's
compute.
heavy computation. So in the beginning, Bitcoin. How many Bitcoin were there at the start, Molly? Do you know offhand?
I used to get paid 10 at a time.
I want to say like 1 million were made total. Now, when a cryptocurrency comes out, there's like billions, because they know that even if they make 20 cents per, they're ridiculously rich. So I believe there was 1 million, and if not 1 million, it was a little less than that. Somewhere in the span of that. Anyway, so to get a Bitcoin, you had to mine the Bitcoin. And to mine a Bitcoin, you had to have your computer do these computations, essentially mining with computer computations. And they were so incredibly complex of computations, it took time for our computers, which are already pretty incredible, to do these computations. And for doing those, you could earn fractions of 1 Bitcoin, which at the time was like $5.
So I got into crypto in like 2008, 2009, because I had an employer, I guess, a client who would pay me in Bitcoin. And originally, the first Bitcoin I ever made, I looked it up, it was 10 cents. That's its entire worth, was 10 cents. Current price, after it, or let's go from its peak price, $68,991 for one. It was 9 cents. Now it's dropped, and it's at, as of May, it was 28,305.
So you could flip that into that.
That's Canadian, right? Though.
That's like 50 cents.
Sorry,
it's American.
What is that really?
It's American.
We always got a ratchet.
You don't remind me.
So you still have that 10-cent Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations,
rich, man. Where's your Maserati?
I'm waiting for my NFT BMW.
That's right. You know what it reminds me of? Like, you remember? Oh man, this is in the before time. I think it was like late '90s. SETI had a project. You remember SETI project? Remember that?
Absolutely. It was my screensaver for years.
Everybody, everywhere.
Brilliant.
Everybody, everywhere. So it kind of reminds me of that like concept of like the crowdsourcing compute or whatever you want to call it. It's decentralized. Now, it's
so for those of you who don't know, SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yes.
And what they did was they offered this program that would run like a screensaver on your computer. It would run when you're not using your computer. You just keep it on all day. And it uses your computer to help with this big project of scanning the skies and understanding the data that you got. And so, of course, for us nerds, we're like, yeah, I want in on this. And it just passively ran in the background, and a lot of us forgot about it. So that's the background.
Yeah, exactly it. So it's like, I think it was like the prototype for crypto. It seems like where like the process power, totally voluntary. They had just gobs of data. They'd process it through the screensaver. They'd send it back, and all the I/O involved. And I don't know how they did it, but they're scientists, right? So it's a lot. And there was a lot of data process, and those machines weren't even that powerful back then. They just had a gazillion of them because everybody thought it was cool. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What was interesting is one of the first use cases I remember hearing about Bitcoin when I first heard about it was this game, a virtual reality game with life in the name, Something Life.
Yep.
And it was used
Second Life?
Second Life sounds right.
People die in like internet cafes.
Currency to buy skins, clothes, houses, digital, all this shit in this Second Life game. That was the first time I heard about it. And it was on a news report that someone had sold enough clothes that they were able to convert it into cash in a roundabout way. At the time, it wasn't able to be done yet to get cash from it. But someone literally wired them money to get the Bitcoin to get their digital clothes.
Oh, we used to do that long before Bitcoin.
And I remember hearing about that and just having my mind blown. What is happening? I don't understand this.
But those people, like, they be dying in internet cafes for that game because people were like addicted to that, like ridiculous.
It was huge.
So it would surprise me that
massive.
Do whatever
there was a lot of divorces
takes.
that happened because of affairs that happened in Second Life.
Oh wow.
Yep. So when I was in high school, so long before Bitcoin, we would play these online games. We would make and trade all of our skins and our items and our magic potions and that kind of stuff. And we would sell them on eBay and get paid in PayPal.
There you go.
Great.
That's
fantastic.
But I remember there was a news report on NBC, I want to say, and they're like, children are now using this digital currency named Bitcoin to buy digital clothes. What's the world coming to? And I was like, oh,
Do you know where your
crazy.
children are?
Yeah, but that was
That's
that's like just
crazy.
like the icing on the cake, man. They just like people so addicted to that stuff. They would like die in internet cafes because they wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep. Like this is not so much here. It happened here. It was mostly, like, you hear about like from Korea or something, like South Korea.
Yeah.
People like be so addicted to this thing, staging all these elaborate transactional, like just that's their whole existence, and actually pass away because they're so addicted to the damn thing.
I still
that
know
they just-
a guy that makes neighborhood $20K a month off of FIFA.
Okay.
Skins
He-
for FIFA,
Skins for FIFA.
really?
And also a racing game. He'll buy and sell paint jobs off of his racing game.
That's pretty
He'll
cool,
flip
actually.
them. He'll flip them. So he has this whole e-commerce thing. He also sells mushrooms, but that's different. But
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
little diversification never hurt anybody, or complementary product, right? Not substitute, complementary.
maybe
very
with
well.
every skin you get a cap. I guess is how it goes.
That's exactly right.
It's an NFT.
You're gonna love that game.
But anyway, he doesn't have to work if he doesn't want to, but he chooses to because he enjoys it. But every weekend he goes to the market and trades for like 2 different paint jobs to get this one special one, holds on to it for the right time for like an anniversary, an event, something going on like that, sells it for a god awful amount. And like FIFA, he'll collect, like at the beginning of the World Cup, he'll collect all of the uniforms of
That's
the
a big
biggest
deal.
players.
It's coming soon.
And when the games hit that morning, guess what he's doing? He's offloading
Getting paid.
the premium on every single one because everyone wants to play along with the World Cup.
Yep.
And he
Also,
murders-
y'all are coming to Toronto because FIFA's coming to town.
You guys coming? You guys got like a World Cup game?
Yeah,
Or
we
just
we
FIFA?
just got the announcement yesterday
Oh, I hadn't read that.
Toronto's
That's
going to
cool.
be one of the World Cup hosts in
Nice.
I
That's
think
huge.
26.
That's a big deal.
Heck yeah.
It's going to cost millions of dollars.
It always
I think
does.
280 million.
Oh,
And they
that's
did
a
this- I remember they
steal.
did it in '94. Remember, Jim? They did it at the Silver Dome. Remember that?
I was there.
Alexi Lawless with his hair.
I was
He
there.
was awesome.
The guy that did the backflips, I got to see him do a backflip and kick the ball. That blew my mind. I went with I'll tell you a real quick story. I went with Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
So
talking about.
growing up, my mom and dad worked opposing shifts. When my mom was around, my dad wasn't, and so on. And so every Friday I would see my dad because he would come home in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I really didn't get to see him. So we'd have pizza Fridays with my dad. And so because of all of this and my mom needing to rest sometimes and not be like constantly badgered by me, like cutting myself on things and jumping off things and doing all the stupid things that boys do, she put me in Boys and Girls Club for sections of the day. So I spent about 6 years in Boys and Girls Clubs, which is still something I'm very passionate about. And they took me to Tigers games. They took me to Pistons games. They took me to the World Cup. So
That's cool.
we had this big contest go on about how many good things you could do for others at Boys and Girls Club. And I murdered it. No one was even fucking close.
Yeah.
And so I got to go
backdrop.
to the World Cup. And I remember I was so young and I didn't come from like money or anything. So I saw people, we got to go in a tent and we got to have cocktail shrimp. And I was like, this is how rich people live. While I was eating my cocktail shrimp in a tent by the side of the World Cup, I was
That's
convinced
really
that like
cool.
that was the crescendo of rich,
Heck yeah, man.
was eating cocktail shrimp at a sporting event.
Yo, we are
That's what-
totally recreating this moment soon. Yeah.
And I got
That's
to
awesome.
see the guy do the backflip, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But I'll never
That's
ever forget that, because it just rocked me. I was like, "Oh my god, this is what it feels like to be rich." That was one of my
I love
earliest
it.
memories of wanting to be in a different monetary section of the world. Was like, if I could live like this all the time, that would be amazing.
Yup.
And it was just cocktail shrimp. Like now it's just like, let's go to Meyer.
I dreamed of the Batwing doors.
That's
I wanted the DeLorean with the Batwing doors. I
Oh,
always
there you
thought that
go.
was like
Yes.
that was rich.
Just so you know, in case anybody's wondering, it's the closest approximation you can do to running through the streets naked is drive a DeLorean. Everybody looks. Everybody looks.
Yeah.
We're going to the quad.
So I had a friend of mine was in college. He was like a huge fan. He bought one. And I was like, hey, bring it over to our, because I was in fraternity. He's like, hey, bring it over to our house. We'd love to show the guys. I mean, everybody would love to see this thing. And then they would take it for a spin. And it was like, seriously, like everybody's looking at this thing.
I mean, was it post Back to the Future?
Oh, yeah, dude. This is like 2000,
Yeah, of course.
2003 or something. It's like the perfect time. It still runs, you know, like it's still, everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
And you're
There's
going
a
to
new
this.
one coming out. DeLorean has been revived.
I heard that the nameplate's coming back. But again, so yeah, I mean, like I said, so Tammy, if you ever want to know what it's like, get your DeLorean or
Just
just
run
go
naked.
Run
right
through
through the streets. It's basically the same experience.
So, little known fact.
I don't think she's going to mention DeLorean.
I'm not. In the college days, a friend of mine decided that we would go to a camp. She said there's a campground that we can go to, and it's all a nudist camp.
Nice.
So we could sign up and go for the day, which was like a whole thing. And there's like all of these things that you have to do just so that you know if you want to spend the day nude, that you have to do. You have a little towel you get to carry around with you and use to set on and all the things. And but there's some places on our body.
She's like, I know this. I wrote that book.
I did, right?
Oh, I'll tell you my story.
I'm a camp counselor. I got this for you right here.
It's a whole thing.
So Tam, you spent the day naked at a nudist colony?
It's a nudist camp. It's actually, there are nudist camps all over. Like, you don't even know. They're like in these strategic locations. You can join the clubs and stuff. But we were there during the daylight. There was no, weirdness going on other than just everybody being naked. And there was a guy working on an electrical panel at some point with his big hat and nothing else.
He was doing electrical.
He would have the belt thing on or something. I don't know. But
that's awesome.
Things that you would never see, right? Like they're just like that would never occur to me that they're going to do that. They did invite us to stay over. They were going to do.
He's doing
the hard hat.
He's got his tool belt. He's like, check this out.
It's like YMCA. But
sounds like a gay strip club.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, he's got his tool belt. He is ready to take care of that electrical panel.
I learned that looks better tanned. I did learn that.
Yes.
It was like that was amazing. Like it didn't even matter people's size or whatever. And then there was just some things that we learned about people and all of the things that they did. But my big takeaway moment was after about 6 to 8 hours in the sun and playing the volleyball and doing all the things at the pool and all the stuff, we had to drive home for 4 hours afterwards. It was
with
all like
clothes on
because there's parts of your body that have never seen sun. I'm a redheaded stepchild, so it was that kind of a thing. I had to call it, and then
were you a red bottoms child as well?
Sunburn on the clothes. I mean, if you're at the pool, right? You come home with your bathing suit on. At least you have that, right?
Yeah.
But when you don't have that, there's places that you sit that's very uncomfortable to have clothing touching any of it. Carry on another day. I have to call my boss. Was working at a newspaper at that point. Called my boss and said, "Look, this is the deal. Like, I literally cannot put on any clothes. I have a sheet. Can you go get me aloe vera? I am dying here. I can't drive. I can't go anywhere. I don't have the supplies."
That has to be an awkward exchange.
Whole process here in that adventure.
Nice.
You heard it here first, people.
So we
Nice.
have a few of these camps around. So we have Bear Oaks, which is the closest to my
B-A-R.
I was about to say, like, how does she know all these already?
I see what they do.
Molly and I are BFFs, and we know
Exactly. What is going on here?
Yeah, so Bear Oaks is currently selling off a few of their lounge chairs, their leather like recliner chairs. The posting online includes photos of the chair, um,
The butt
photos
cheek
of the
incident.
chair in situ in front of the window where the guy would sit there and just watch the world. But it also gives you a photo of him in the chair from outside the window so you can get the full experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
appealing that way. It just adds to
Drink it
the
in.
whole. You're like, I want that whole thing.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Oh, it's not a leather recliner. I was incorrect. It's a fabric recliner, so
Better.
it's absorbent.
Yeah,
Well,
better.
good.
I would go with free furniture is free for a reason. I'm just saying. You see it on the side of the road, it is not a gift.
Some things you can't bleach out.
Some things you can't. Boy, what a
That's
turn.
for sure.
Nice.
Oh my
Cryptocurrency,
goodness.
huh?
John, I need to hear your opinion on Web 3.0 and NFTs. So
I just
being
love
a tech-oriented man such as yourself, I imagine you're pretty tied into the movement. What is your opinion?
No, I don't know anything, man. I tell you, I'm a total idiot. I don't know anything.
Get out of here.
No, actually, I'm learning a lot. And so I was telling, who was I telling about this? So I heard Molly make a comment about it once. As a young entrepreneur learning the ropes, I heard Molly say something fun one time. I was like, oh, that's funny. She must, has to deal with it. I had to deal with it. I'm dealing with it right now. Where it's like,
Tell me more.
well, it's like this, like, I told you this story. I'm like, I'm going to go meet people. I'm going to make friends.
Yeah.
By July, whatever I said in my iPad goals, like 100 people, July 1st, I'm going to make new friends. I'm going to do this stuff. So cool, right? Hi, Tammy. Hi, everybody. Like, I'm learning, making friends. So I'm a little more liberal on my Facebook than I would normally be. I'm like, yeah, I'll make friends with people, and they're all entrepreneurs. But some people are like, okay, like, hey, John, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great, man. Just trying to get stuff done. It's like, you should buy NFTs. I'm like, wait a second, who are you again?
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
So anytime like that happens, like it's like the mania, like the blind. All you do is you have this taste residual, where you're like, I know about the mining, I know about like the fundamental technologies, but the actual culture, the actual like how do you participate? I didn't want to know, because like these people are like they don't even care. They're just like, hey, buy my shit, like whatever I told you the other day, whatever joke I told Molly about in her messenger. That's exactly how it went down. Like, hey, how you doing? You're doing great. Oh, you do live hack? Yes, great. Well, why don't you buy this NFT and your life will change? I'm like, wait a second. Like, what? It's not NFT, they're crypto, but it's like it's crypto, but it's like, okay, like I don't know how I feel about that. I asked Janine about it. I'm like, dude, you've been doing this long time.
Is
I'm
there
like, what
letters
do you
in the name that just confuse us, like MLMs and NFT? Like anything with we have to be sketchy. Like,
exactly. No, exactly.
It's either sketchy or it's from the military, and sometimes they cross over.
And I full on 100%.
Oh no!
Gave. What happened? What'd I do?
This is my Instagram. This is from the last week. Every single one is an NFT.
Yeah.
Every one.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of getting a taste of it,
You're
going like,
and it's not scrolling anymore.
I was at the end.
Watch this.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
no, exactly it. So like, okay. And like, I was like, me, I'm very diplomatic and nice and can be kind of funny or whatever and engaging and beautiful. No, excuse me. But what I did was I said, like, straight up, like, I don't know much. Tell me about, what do you have to read? Like, give me like seriously, legitimately educate me, because I'm making friends and I want to learn things. And it was like, you don't really need to know all that. Just invest in the companies. I can actually probably read it to you. It's kind of like,
it's a VA that gets paid like $2.30.
It's not a VA. No, it's a person. She's a nice person. I think. I don't know. Like, her Facebook's nice.
I would bet you $50 that it's not the person that made the NFT.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's probably not. Yeah, so she's just fronting it, right? It's MLM, whatever it is. So it's not. Again, I'm not. The point was, like, I was like legitimately being very curious.
Yeah.
Very like, I don't really know all the detail of this stuff. Why don't you educate me? Why don't you give me some resources so I can learn, so I can be partially like converted? And it was straight up try to close it. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, do you seriously don't know who I am? Like, that's ridiculous. I will just laugh at that every time. I actually gave her 2 chances. 2. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, well, they came back the next day and it was like the same thing. Like, hey, I'm like, hey, so yeah, what's going on? Do you have something? Well, good company and all this stuff, and I'll sell them the company. I'm like, wait a second. This is like a version of like, what is it? Amway. Like, this is the Amway like digital version. Like, no, thank you. I don't need this in my life. I just need to know like about it. And so I've learned more in the last, here on Visibility Hackers. I learned more about it from impartial people who happen to be Bitcoin rich.
Get him, Molly. Get him.
No, but seriously though, it was like, okay, so that's how it went down. So like, I don't really know a lot. I've been kind of learning more here and there. I'm trying to focus on other things, but like, it's definitely like in terms of the actual blockchain and the technology. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've seen the mining, I've seen the rigs, I've seen they run Kubernetes, they run all this. So I understand like the need for compute, and it's everywhere, man. It's it's interesting. It's interesting. Actually, I was just kind of like really listening to Molly like about the environmental stuff, because she's right. It's like it's a lot of energy.
Yep.
It's it's what's been killing the gamers for years. Like, they're competing for the same GPU chip for the the top of the line. Video game player wants the same hardware as the Bitcoin miner, or at least they did for a long time. And so like there's all these like Black Friday events at Micro Center whenever they have a few. I think the people just tripping over the door, like waiting in the morning, if it's a brand new hot thing. So I know about these things, but I don't know like the actual like I haven't invested or anything like that, because it hasn't been because of the situation like I just described. I'm like, no, no, not interested in your guys'
beginning
nonsense.
of COVID. After I had started X's and O's, I started aggressively looking for a new computer. And it was right when the RTX 3090 hit the market.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
It was nowhere to be found. And I remember that there was one in store, and one guy offered him out of the box 2.5 times retail price.
Like I told you, man, it's like that. It's like the
I
Black
was like,
Friday, like they
I'm
tripping
gonna
over each
go.
other, trying to rip it out of their hands. It's the demand on them is obscene. Like it's
tickle
like,
me Elmo
Some of them
all
here,
over.
like the wait list is like a year or longer to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
Here's a
Tickle Me
little
Elmo all over again.
Oh God, I remember that. Here's a little economics lesson when it comes to NFTs. Just because this is a trend that I keep seeing, because what John was just talking about fits into this. So this is pretty much the lifespan of most NFT projects, or most NFT projects that people are buying. And this comes back to what Tammy was saying of the teenagers in their basements making up their own crypto, right? This is not fully thought out, not professionals, not people who have value to provide, like Gary V, like Steve Larson, et cetera, et cetera. They have a catalog of value they can provide.
Right.
This is not them. What you're going to see is an initial bump. It's first being launched. Everyone wants in on the ground floor. This is those keeners. They're fully speculating, but they like to see this bump. You'll also see any influencers who are being paid to promote the coins or promote the projects. They're going to be in here. Those influencers generally will sell at the first peak. Fine. It starts a downward decline because it's not going any higher than they were expecting. Then it will pretty much tank. And there are a ton of projects who have this first bump, and then they just hold at next to nothing for a while. But the people don't want to sell their coins. It's kind of like the stock market. I don't know about the US, but at least in Canada, if you sell a stock at a lower value, you take a loss on that stock, you actually get to write that off on your taxes. So it actually evens out in the end when you're playing the whole game, right? But with NFTs, you don't have that protection at all. A loss is 100% a loss. So what happens is these guys will hold the coin for a bit, and then they'll start hiring their VAs for $2 an hour and sending John these messages and filling up Jim's Instagram by saying, hey, buy the coin, buy the coin, buy the coin. Because those suckers who held on to it when it went back down to zero are going, I need more people in this so that I can get paid out. because I just want to sell it at what I bought it for now, let alone try and make a profit. And so we're seeing a lot of that trend happening. So when you're looking at buying into crypto or NFTs, look at the graph. If you see an upward incline, awesome. If you see a flat line with a little bit of an incline, awesome. If you see that double hump, get out. It's because what's happening on the back end is it's fully just a Ponzi scheme at that point. They are just waiting to get some idiot in so that they can get paid out and they can leave. So that's my economics lesson for the day.
That's pretty
Thanks
much
for
why
coming to
I've
my
been,
TED Talk.
yeah, exactly. It's pretty much why I've been kind of hanging tight. Like, you know, I mean, JP Spears did the very best. Was hilarious when he talked about crypto right up front. It was so funny. He's like, so what we have is nothing, and by the fact that we have less than nothing, it makes like the way he did it. And I was like, yeah, he's right, straight up. Now, is there going to be value in the blockchain? Absolutely. Is there going to be, you know, cryptocurrency? Is it? To your point, only until our friends in leadership get their meat hooks into it and mess it all up, right? There's a bunch of stuff, a lot of risk. So like you can speculate, you can do it, but if you're trying to like retire on it, yeah, exactly. Get in, get out. That's why you can't, because somewhere along the line it can't. Not all of it can.
Speaking to what Molly is talking about too, with the rug pulls and the Ponzi style, to where they all huddle in. And what they'll do is they'll have a Discord in the background or a Telegram to where they're like, all right, here's our big push. Everyone that got rammed, get out. This is your time. And they'll even like say, all right, now.
Yep.
Wow.
And everyone leaves at one time. The other thing they'll do is if someone wants to buy in, but they didn't get in at the right time, they'll buy a butt ton all at once and immediately sell.
Yep.
It causes a frenzy and a panic. Everyone sells. They jump right back in and get the price they wanted, cheap, and then it goes back up.
Yeah. It's just like the stock market, but it's so much easier to manipulate because there's so many less people using it.
Lots of market manipulation.
Yeah, like I said, so that's kind of like why I've been learning about it. It's, you know, and again, I fully like literally said, well, maybe I'll take a look because, you know, why not? And very disappointed. Like, okay, you know, I was trying to be nice to you, try to give you a chance to sell me, to teach me, to educate me, to do the things that we do here. Like, you know, like,
you're like the perfect customer. You're like, literally, just give me the info. I'm ready.
Read this. I gotta read this to you guys, like, because it's like I will tell you, this was like Canadian polite. It was ridiculous.
Awesome.
Now where are we going?
So it says like
another interesting use of blockchain that I don't know why I didn't mention. Going off of what Jim was talking about earlier about the guy who's not paying his mortgage and his renters now get kicked out. So now apply that exact same principle to a nonprofit. Now do you feel a heck of a lot more confident donating your money to these organizations? Because now you can actually see where the money's going.
Where the money's going. Yeah, follow the money.
Maybe I wasn't being that polite, but here, check this out.
Campaign donations? Holy crap. Just campaign donations alone would be intense.
So again, I'm not, you know, I don't want to like out this person or whatever, dox or whatever. They're not, you know, they're probably nice people, but it's like, she's like, it's like
Bob.
No, it's not that. It's fine. Whatever. Maybe I'm too nice.
Bob to protect their identity.
Yeah, don't share their name. It's just Bob.
It says, hello, John. I says, good morning,
John.
Bob. Nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Jurassic Park.
I said, likewise, I'm doing pretty good. Working on a video edit for my client for my daughter's dance studio. Looks like the recital, 4 hours long, grind, push, blah, blah, just talking smack. Yourself? This is message number 3. That's nice. I'm on a normal affiliate marketing and trying to teach the downline the importance of investing in crypto to a good and reliable platform. Right now, I'm checking on my downline to make a deposit yesterday and make sure to have a great investment. You know, what's your profession? And I was like, well, I do technology and AR and all this fun stuff. I'm an affiliate networker. So here I'm like, okay, so here's the door. Okay, ready? I'm a technology professional. I currently work for a startup that provides augmented reality solutions. It's pretty cool, interesting stuff. Over the past couple of years, I've become fairly obsessed with cinematography. I'm giving her like all these ways to connect. That's led to a couple of side hustles. Now I'm working, so I'm doing plus the Earth. I'm doing video production, helping people level up their home studios, sales, and entrepreneurship. I'm like, doom. Here's all these ways you can connect. Feel free. I'm an affiliate networker, an investor. So I connect with crypto enthusiasts sharing business ideas. I'm like, okay, fine.
Sure.
I said I seem to have a few friends in network that are SSS. I seem to have a few friends and network connections in that industry. So I'm curious, what's the appeal or draw for you? I was just like literally like.
Sell
Give
me.
them layup after layup, yeah.
I don't understand. I said I don't know a whole lot about the industry, a few key principles, but not a ton. So I was curious about why you were drawn to it, cryptocurrency, like just because an opportunity like this is life changing. It'll change me, my family, yours as well. I've been witness to this. Da, 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 da. Now I make more than 500 every 24 hours. Da, 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 da.
It's
Oh
back
my
to the
God, I
script.
can't tell you
It's
how
back
many of
to
those
the
I
script,
have.
Back to the script. Back to
It's
the
Yeah.
script.
all
You're not
script.
falling
They're
into the
literally
script.
copy and pasting to you.
And so
And
my
they
point-
probably have no idea.
This
how
is
to
not
speak English,
content for
to be
connection
honest
by
with
any
you.
stretch of the imagination. This is like the worst.
Exactly.
This is like
I got the
content to get
message.
you banned from my Facebook. Like,
I got
Exactly.
I got the message from Fred from Igazi today.
Mhm.
Do you know Uganda? Picture of Uganda.
No, I don't.
I do now.
That's
I know
gonna
it's
go
there.
crypto at some point, or I need to send him money. He's part of the kingdom. I don't know.
Yeah.
There'll be a thing.
yeah. So
I have
So I
had
said,
many
"Hey,
that
tell me
say that
about
they want me
pickleball
to
in
give to
Uganda."
their church in their remote village, and that conversation goes deep fast.
Yep.
yeah. So like I said, I was like, okay, I'll learn about some of this stuff. Why not? Show me, educate me. Are you so concerned person who really wants to sell well?
You're so concerned person.
Oh, well, it's about time to wrap this conversation up. So
It is.
instead of weekly wins this week, because we shouted out our weekly wins at the beginning, it seemed. How about just bottom line? Are we going to be investing in crypto and NFTs in the next, let's say, week ahead of us? What's our thoughts now that we had this wonderful conversation? I'm holding on to my Bitcoin. That's my answer.
I bet you are.
It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Yeah. I own about 6 different cryptocurrencies in varying amounts. I will hold them likely for the next 5 years.
Nice. Hashtag not financial advice. We are not financial
Not
advisors
financial advice at all.
whatsoever.
This is for entertainment purposes only, and mostly Tammy's jokes. That's what this is really about. For being honest,
Tammy's carrying the team today.
she's the
Oh,
funniest
God,
one out
yeah.
of us all.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
there's no contest.
You know, I think for me personally, number one, I'm struggling with we can't even get internet speeds like above 30. So, I mean, I got that going for me. So, it's
You got
that
snaps
deal.
out of that. You got jazz snaps.
I'm thinking
I am like incredibly passionate about making sure that every household in North America has access to high-speed internet.
Thank
First,
you.
so that their kids can go connect with each other online. But secondly, if we want to have Web 3.0 show up, if we want to have that revolution in
have
our
fiber.
connection, we
You gotta
have to make sure that farmers in Indiana have the same access as our fishermen in Alaska, have the same access as our little kids on reservations in Northern Canada, have the same access to kids in the big cities. Just putting it out
I mean,
there.
hey, I'm a graphic designer, been doing this for years. I'm trying to figure out. I want to be able to put Gary giraffes or whatever it is on T-shirts for everybody in the world. I feel like that's my place. So whenever
That's really smart. That's
carrying
really,
that
really
over,
smart,
hey,
actually.
that's what I heard out of all of this. Like
What's
everybody needs-
interesting, Tammy, now that you mentioned that, is if you buy an NFT, some of them actually incorporate right into the NFT that you have full rights to do whatever you want with that character.
Funny
Of
story
recent-
about that.
A recent Seth Green. Is that who you're going to bring up?
The one who no longer has the rights.
He bought it back. He got it.
Oh,
from
good.
the ransomer. He got it back.
Oh, good.
So Seth Green, who invented Robot Chicken,
right.
and
that's Seth Green. Yeah, he's awesome.
a couple other items. He was in Austin Powers as Dr. Evil's son.
He does a lot. He does a lot of voice acting.
Does a lot of voice acting.
I think he's like, isn't he Chris from Family Guy? Like he plays the
Possibly.
sun. He plays the sun.
I think he might be right on that.
No, it is. Trust
And
me.
he
It's
was
like,
in Buffy.
it's very strange when you see him do it because it's nothing like the character. But continue. I'm sorry.
So he bought a Bored Ape Yacht Club ape. And this particular ape, he saw the popularity of Bored Ape Yacht Club and the trend and all that. And he was like, I'm going to utilize the rights that I own with this NFT and create an entire cartoon around this character.
Mm.
And then a
It's a whole
ransomer
show about NFTs.
And then a ransomer took his character right out of his damn wallet. And not out of his wallet, or coaxed him into sending it to him, something like that. Because generally speaking, someone can't go in your wallet without your key. They have to know your key. And generally speaking, you keep your key outside of your computer, old school style. But he paid $127,000 neighborhood to get it back from the ransomer. And so he can make this cartoon because he's invested all this money into the show, into the workers, into the team, and all these things that were required to make this cartoon come to life. And but he's utilizing the rights of the Bored Ape Yacht Club that it's built into. It says whatever character you get minted, you have full rights to do with that character whatever you so see fit. You want to sell T-shirts, mugs, cups. You want to do Halloween costumes, animated features. You want to do a real life, anything you want, you have full rights to that character. And he's the first one to actually take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And he got it stolen.
Exactly. That sounds like some tragedy, right?
Yep.
That's Greek level tragedy there, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
But speaking to what you were talking about, Tammy, is be careful, of course, as always. Make sure that whatever NFT project that you're delving into doesn't require those rights. And generally speaking, you fall under parity, I believe, as long as you don't have an exact duplicate. You know, like we can use the Detroit D as long as we make it a little different. You're going to make it a little different.
And it has to be in a different industry then.
True. That is true.
No, but couldn't you do from there? I mean, from my perspective, Jim, you own whatever it is that you own, and can't I be the supplier, the print-on-demand supplier, for you to use your crypto, whatever
You
you're
absolutely
using?
could.
Yeah.
See, and
Absolutely.
that's where I want to play. I don't want to play with them. No, I've never played that way. But I can take your stuff and be able to put it on print-on-demand, be able to put it on welcome boxes or whatever. Wow.
And in particular, the Bored Ape Yacht Club is great to go after because people not only want to show off their NFT, which they'll make it their profile picture.
Sure.
So if you ever see these goofy ass cartoons instead of someone's profile picture, that's an NFT they own.
Well, they're
And it's
in
gloating.
Clubhouse.
They're showing off.
They're in Clubhouse all over the place. I mean, that's a huge place for them where they congregate, right? And they have their things. And I've been in some of those rooms and thought, what the heck are they doing? But now I know. So I love that. So now I have to find my own pitch.
So they're showing off. So if you could make that kind of like when Bitcoin first kind of came to attention level, like not global attention, but like wide attention. People realized that it wasn't a real
I remember
coin.
that week. It was like crazy that week.
People realized that, it's not a real coin. Guess what people did? They went and made a real damn coin. And I guarantee Molly has one.
Molly had 600 of them, but sold them to people.
See, Molly was one of the smart ones that jumped on that train. So, and then every other cryptocurrency that comes out, guess what? A real coin is made, and you can buy that as this cool thing. It is valueless. It doesn't mean anything, but it means
it's
something.
Literally a piece of plastic.
It's literally a piece of plastic.
Yeah. But honestly, the best approach to the NFT world, Tammy, is doing exactly what you just said, is to find a way to service those who are obsessed with the market already.
Yeah,
so when
exactly, man.
when Bitcoin came out, for example,
Levi's
what I did was I bought and sold USBs that had a digital display on the top. Looks really techy, looks really cool, cost me next to nothing from China. But what I was doing was giving people a physical space that they can now use as a wallet to hold on to all of their crypto. It was a friggin' USB stick. Like, let me sell you the exact same thing. This is actually a much larger USB in terms of like capacity. But I'll sell it to you for $600. Easy.
You know what this reminds me of? It's like video games now.
Yeah.
It's like you going along, there's like a little item on the floor. You pick it up and you realize it's the Stone of Jordan. Like it's worth $600.
Yeah.
Like, how would you like? I would never guessed you could have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting on your little unicorn head there, but it's entirely
It's nuts,
possible.
right? It's absolutely nuts, but it's all real now. And shout out to Jay Lee, by the way. We see you, friend. We see you.
Hey,
Yeah, I smile. I was like, hey, man.
Shout out to our favorite sales ninja. I would love to see Jay Lee and see what his opinion is on this maybe next week. If you could jump on with us, Mr. Jay Lee, and talk to us about how maybe you would like to utilize NFTs in the Web 3.0 space and what you do in sales and teaching ethical sales and talking about how sales without faith is dead. I think it would be very interesting to hear your opinion. And I think it would be possibly a very different opinion. I always like to hear opposing opinions.
in the 3.0 space, looking at that, besides the cryptocurrency, besides the NFTs, see, I'm using like all the language, right?
You're like an old pro.
Hanging out with the cool
Pro.
kids. Look at me. But even with that, is there anything that how we're utilizing the internet in and of itself? Is there anything that's changing in that elm? Because I know that one of the things, and I know we don't have time to get into it, I'd love to have this conversation with brilliant people like you. Back in the day, I was part of a mastermind, and they had a group. There was a software online called Sococo, and it was so brilliant in the relationship building factor of how people could do within their memberships. A lot like I can't get over how close it really is to Clubhouse, but then it's additional to that. And the way that it was presented at the very beginning was basically it was a place for people to come and when we could all work together on projects or whatever from the same company. And I get that, right? That's been around for a while. But the way that we were utilizing it, and I've not seen it anywhere else, is that you had your membership, your people, whoever working together, you had rooms set up where you could go in, you had a little icon head. It wasn't even as fancy as Clubhouse, as you know, as low tech as that is at this point. But you had the places that you could go in, you could have meetings, you could do open and closed doors where you could have meetings with people in the group. You could teach and train where you had all of a sudden you were the expert, you were teaching, you had all of the people that would be in your room, and it was all text. But you could then turn that text over and you could also do it in video. So they limited you to like 100 people were the only people you could have in the room, which was too small for a lot of these groups. But I wondered in that aspect of how we're utilizing things really feels
so think about 2.0 as being you sit here and then there's a screen in front of you. 3.0 puts you into that screen. So in terms of how we connect, instead of what my lifetime online was chat rooms with text, message boards where you'd post something and then you'd hope that someone would respond. Then we move into more video, more sharing of files. We now have Facebook. We now have a place, even though social networks existed long before Facebook. Sure. Shout out to Bolt users. So we would hang out now we have a space to hang out. Metaverse. That's where 3.0 is going, where we literally have avatars. We can walk around. We have a space, a dimension of space that we can interact in. We can go to. So what a lot of these NFT people are doing is using the funding from NFTs in order to purchase land on these like artificial planets, blah, blah, blah. But like buying physical real estate in the virtual world so they can build whatever they want. They can build their own Bare Oaks nudist colony online if they want. They can build their own amphitheater. I'm working with a high ticket institution right now, and they're looking at building the equivalent of a university where there will be classes, there will be social rooms, there will be like an entire university campus being built in the metaverse kind of thing.
So place to throw a kegger.
Of course.
Now, then
Can't have your college experience be cut short.
Take that to the nth degree. Now they have haptic suits.
Yeah.
To where you actually have tactile response to where you can reach out to something and feel like a vibration or a touch response. You can feel like if you get shot, it'll actually like hit. It won't like physically harm you in a way that's going to send you to the hospital, but you're very aware of being hit. And then there's like these bowls that you can walk in, and it just perpetually lets you walk in any direction. And it feels like you're walking. So it keeps blurring the line between what is real and what isn't. And so now we can't hear you, Molly.
Or battery died.
Your battery, you're muted. That's
She's not just muted though. She's suffering.
She's
don't
suffering.
suffer, Molly.
Sign language. Learn sign language.
Her mic sounds so good. Just saying.
No,
She actually knows
that's
sign
not
language.
it. That's not it. Here. Let's go old
There you
school.
go. Mind blown.
No.
Molly, you're awesome with or without batteries. So to finish the thought here, though, is imagine with that blurred line that anything we do in real life is going to be amplified in virtual. So imagine from our perspective, our world, retreats. You could now have a retreat that's also part of an adventure on the moon. That sounds
You guys
awful.
getting feedback?
Yep, lots of feedback.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think it might be Molly.
I'm thinking it's Molly.
Thank you, Molly.
This one day I had a terrible situation.
Don't you just have like plug-in headphones? I've seen you wear them on occasion, or like the
Old
in-ear
school.
one.
Go old school.
Your iPod, whatever the hell they're
This
called.
is gonna make us get a Google lip reading app. So
That's gonna mess up all of it too.
We can do all the audio. We'll just put it in. You can do that.
Tammy, it's even more fun.
Right?
Will you
go ahead and move your mouth. I'll put the words in. Like,
can you read lips, Tammy, and just tell us what she's saying?
Sure, I can. Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
She's saying, I have loved being here with you guys all evening. I may or may not be wearing pants at this moment. No, that's not what she's saying? She's not wearing pants at this moment.
Definitely
I'm sorry.
not.
We've got that. We've got that under cover. There's something about s'mores, recipes coming later. She's got to bathe. We've got to bathe.
All right, good deal. Rubber ducky time.
Rubber
Sounds
ducky.
good. So yeah, but just think of it in the respect of now with those lines blurred, and you can take it to the nth degree. That's all possible now. So retreats in Mars for all of your coaching clients.
Well, I'll tell you what, because even some of the stuff that we've been sending and just doing, like, you know what I mean? Like coming up with the ideas, because that is in that retreat, in that, how do we do this in a virtual space? When we're sending out stuff for clients, we've got essential oils, we've got candles, we've got things that when they're doing whatever it is that they're doing, everybody gets to do it. So everybody's house smells the same, right? Mm-hmm. So you're hitting that niche. You're looking at that piece of it. What happens? What can you offer that helps everybody play in the same field? How do you do gamification? Molly had a great video earlier today on the gamification. Mm-hmm. How are you doing it where people are we're interacting in this way? And you guys are great examples of that. I mean, I've taken a lot of lead from that, but how do we make the space, smell-o-vision, taste, touch, we send everybody cookies. We all have that same thing where it very much feels like we're sitting around the campfire, right? Where we've all got the things and we're doing all the things together. And I think that there's ways of building those relationships a little further, a little deeper, and even not having to be in the exact same location, right? I mean, yeah, we got all forced into it, but I was doing Zoom before Zoom was sexy, right? Now you can say Zoom and everybody knows, right? Like what that is. And so even if they're not participating, they're being left behind because this is the new reality for everybody as we get to build relationships.
So I would say that's the powerful part is the relationships. I got to ask you guys something though, because you guys are talking like Web3 and metaverse. I do this every day. It's kind of ways to go before it actually,
yeah.
Like especially the 3D rendering real time. Like it's awesome, it's incredible, but it's still. Sorry guys, I got a random key here.
That's all right.
This is a.
Dang it! That's why I left that.
So, anyways, like you go to the VR cafe, right? And the bowl you're talking about is a big piece of technology. It's like if you're talking about that type of experience, that's where you have to go right now. I mean, people can get them at home, but I think the barrier. I say it all the time. The reason why I like AR, and I think I told Molly this, the reason why I chose AR over VR wasn't because I didn't love VR. I think VR is amazing, but VR is not.
It's cost prohibitive. So.
Exactly. VR is like the analogy I say. It's like a boat, right? You don't buy just the boat. You buy the trailer. You buy the truck to pull it. You buy the house or the boat slip. You buy the lifestyle. So VR is a pretty heavy commitment, which is exactly why the adoption curve, like the people that got it, and then they're trying to get it to the masses, and then maybe they're getting close with like Oculus, $300-400, but to make it wireless, to make it run at that level, they've had to make, it's not as rich, it's not as, the 3090 would kill it, right? But that's not what they're putting in it. So it's definitely downscaled. And so I think that if any prayer, that community has to be incredibly amazing, because it's definitely not the tech by itself, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah.
Like, give it a few years, but it's, you're right, you're on the money. They're figuring it out. So like the haptics and stuff is neat, but do you have $100,000 or whatever it is to get fully decked out or whatever? It's going to be really expensive for the first wave.
Well, the thing with technology, and I know you know this, John, is that it's exponential in growth.
Huge.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
So
for those things that hit,
got our first computer introduced to now, is not that long.
No.
It wasn't that long ago. Before, computers used to fill warehouses, buildings, and used to only be used by military and the highest levels of people.
It was in my lifetime. Like I've seen, I remember going to my college, that my dad went to college. He was an electrical engineer and had a room full of those things. I remember seeing them with my own eyes.
Nowadays, that's going to be a while. That really only means, in most cases, 1 to 5 years.
Yeah, they're all bet the same way.
Changeover at this point because of the exponential growth. And now what's going to really blow everything apart is the new computers. What are they called?
Quantum.
The quantum computers. Quantum computing is going to level everything. Everyone's going to throw out their old computers like cassettes for CDs. Yeah. MP3s is, like what it did to the market. When everything went digital, all of a sudden you're like, what the hell am I going to do with these pieces of plastic? Nothing. You're not going to do anything. Your car doesn't even play CDs anymore.
No.
It's going to be like that level of a jump when quantum.
That's an expensive jump.
Yeah.
Though I remember when we did the Mac. I remember the year that the Mac went over, and all of a sudden no software worked with it. Like you couldn't get new software, and it had that critical cutoff point, and it was expensive. I mean, all of a sudden you had this whole new thing that you had to develop, and then within a few years of that, it's still, Mac's still ridiculously expensive, but and it's not even a gamer machine. I get no neon or nothing, but
the girl gets some neon.
Neon. The girl needs some neon with the whole thing and all the cool stuff.
But now you can buy a purple computer from Mac.
Oh, that's true.
They've come back to colors.
That's how they did it with the iMac.
I'm going to have to invest in cryptocurrency so I even have the money. It still blows my mind when I'm sitting across at a restaurant somewhere and there's some 16-year-old girl over there going, I just got the new whatever. It's like $1,600 phone. It's like, are you kidding me? I spent $1,250 on my very first car, which is a 67 Mustang. Really wish I had it still. But I spent $1,200 on that car. A car.
Yeah. I spent as much on this phone spread out over 2 years of payments, mind you, but as I did on my first car. Actually, more for the phone than the car.
That's true. Yeah. No, I've been lusting after the 13 Pro with the Senate, with the, being able to shoot ProRes RAW on a freaking phone. Yeah, there is some sexy stuff coming out all the time.
All the time.
And some of it's legit. Like something like that to me is amazing.
My only point about all that is that it's gonna be a while. Keep that in context of where we are now.
Oh yeah.
I think the quantum, you're right, man, because the quantum is it's a game changer. It's really hard to control because they don't know where electrons are going to be. It's really difficult to know that. But if they
But
can
they
get it
will.
down to that level, yeah, when
will.
when they cracked a code on this and they got it stabilized, 'cause they already got machines that kind of work, but they have chipsets, they exist. But when it happens, it's going to be exponential. Like it's
They
going to be.
threw a computation at this will be the last thing I say on the topic, but they threw a computation at a quantum computer that took the best of the best normal computers 3 years to complete. It finished it within 4 hours. That's the kind of jump we're looking at.
Yeah, that's a game changer, for no doubt.
3 years, 4 hours. That's insane.
Well, and I think a lot of that isn't some of that how this will be my last thing on it. What is how we're utilizing it, right? It's not just that it's out there and it exists. One of the things I have not seen, and tell me where I'm wrong in this, because like if you had money to invest, this is where I would invest crazy money. Why don't we have ocular views and stuff for like car races, right? Where you pay an extra fee, then you get the ocular and you get to see exactly what the car driver is seeing and experiencing, what the quarterback is seeing and experiencing. And why aren't they utilizing it in that way to change that customer experience?
Because of uplink speeds, upload speeds, and download speeds.
But that's like I said, when you see the ways that you could use it.
To do it at that level would require intense power.
But NFL is the reason why we have podcasts. We would not have the entire industry of podcasting if it wasn't for the NFL going, look, there's this new technology where we can send each other subscribable audio feeds. How can we use this? The first podcast ever, the first subscribable RSS audio feed was the NFL. So if we keep pushing in that direction, the NFL is constantly looking at spending lots and lots of money because they make lots and lots of money.
Let's talk to them, Molly. We can do this.
What they have done completed so far is people live streaming from their phones. You can now click between people's phones and get different perspectives on a concert, for instance, or whatever they're live streaming at the time. So now I could say, let's say there's 30 phones that are on a network on this app. I can go, okay, let's see what 1 sees. Let's see what 2 sees, 3, 4, 5. And I can kind of get like a round view of the concert, and I can kind of place myself in that concert. The other thing you can do is take that output and make a customized music video.
Yeah.
So they've done some of that stuff. So it's fringing on
right.
it.
But you can see where that would be. Like that is the customer experience.
Absolutely. I couldn't
Let
agree
me be
more.
in your shoes. Let me walk the walk that you're into. So
as a Formula One fan, like I'm so in love with the idea of being there in the driver's seat. Like how cool would that be? Going through the Monaco turns, like whipping around. Heck yeah, I'm in.
Here's what I think is going to happen. It'll be just like hockey. The damn puck moves so fast that they put the little highlighter on it back in the day when they first started that AR stuff. You'll be sick. You're moving so fast in that thing, 300 miles an hour, whatever it is. You'd be like, it'd be too much. I will guarantee you.
Yep.
I still
guarantee
can't
you.
play Sonic.
It's probably why it's not been done.
Sonic the Hedgehog makes me dizzy. Makes me.
I'd love to be in
Remember
VR through Sonic's view.
Oh man,
that would be insane.
That would be cool. And what they're saying would be cool too, man. Like that would be amazing. Like to actually have like a 360 cam and have it be gyroscopic. You look around. That would be cool. I would give them. They do have 360 videos. So
I mean, all of the individual tech is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just combining those requires a powerhouse, which quantum could do.
Quantum computer.
Like that.
Do it.
We can do it.
So on that note,
warehouse.
we're going to call it a night. We love each and every one of you. You guys are absolutely incredible. Get out there and make something awesome this week, and we will see you on the next one. Molly.
I got the live show coming up on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you haven't already, check out the showcase, which just launched this week. I am
incredible.
So excited. It's got some pretty sexy graphics. It's we got some fun stuff planned for you guys. And if you're interested, I have rebuilt the entire visibility vault, and I keep throwing new stuff in there. So if you want access to some of the best trainings in the visibility hacking world, absolutely free, then just let me know down in the comments and I'll give you access to the vaults 100% free. Yeah, because we love you guys. We love you guys. Tammy's in. Tammy's in. Heck yeah. All right, guys.
This is me logging in.
It is, right?
It keeps saying I don't have the right password. Hold on.
My thumbprint is not recognizing my face.
All right, guys, we will see you back here for Friday Night Live next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, approximately. Maybe I'll smell like a campfire, maybe I won't. You're going to have to come back and check us out. Until we see you again, my friends, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other, and just go live, because your people, they're out there. They're waiting for you. Peace out.